Hi, buenos dias, amigos, amigas, or should I say good morning to each and everyone. My name is Januan Pungo, and I will present to you or introduce to you our topic for today, one of the masterpiece of Jose Portasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Rialonda, The Indolence of Filipino People. So these are the main objectives for today. The first objective is to be able to discuss one of the great works of Rizal, the Sobre la Indolencia de los Filipinos, or The Indolence of Filipino. And the other one is to know what is the essence or the context of the indolence of the Filipino people. These are the key terms that you must know first. First is the indolence. The next one is paragon. The next one is regime. The next one is deterioration. And the last one is the assertion. But before we proceed to our main points, I will state to you a brief history of the indolence of Filipino. Jose Portasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Rialonda was the writer of The Indolence of Filipino, the longest essay he ever wrote. This was published in 5 sequence in the last Solidaridad newspaper during July 15 to September 15, 1890. The Indolence of Filipino was called the most analytical study made by Rizal about our society during the Spanish regime, and it represents Rizal's defense of Filipino from the charge that they were inherently lazy or indolent.
Rizal gave various causes for the present state of indolence among Filipinos after emphasizing that indolence is not unnatural in Filipinos. Wars, pirates, invasions, and anarchy have destroyed the people, which explain the population decline during Spanish rule. He was against the discrimination of Filipinos. That's why Jose Rizal was able to produce and wrote The Indolence of Filipino. He wanted Filipinos to have a better education, to have a better job opportunities. That's why he wanted to represent and to voice out something that we Filipinos are not inherently lazy or indolent.
Good day everyone, my name is Irabel Igiachon, so I'm here right now to explain about the socio-economic context. According to Garcia 2005, Rizal emphasized that whenever something goes wrong in the Philippines, there is a tendency to blame the Filipinos. So according daw kay Rizal, kapag may mangyari sa bansang Pilipinas, may malaking tendency or malaking tsansa nang i-blame din ay ang mga Pilipino. So bakit nga ba nasabi ito ni Rizal? So on the basis, he tried to analyze about the social and political conditions of that time, only to prove na hindi yung effect ng backwardness ng bansang Pilipinas ang main reason bakit tayo lugmok in terms of political and social conditions, kundi yung pagiging tamad ng mga Pilipino at that time, or yung pagiging indolent nating mga Pilipino at that time. So the accounts of early Spanish like Morga, San Agustin, and Colin clearly show that pre-Spanish Filipinos were noted for their activity and honesty. So noon naman daw ng panahon, yung pre-Spanish era pa lang daw, nakikita naman kung gaano ang kadaming oportunidad at that time at yung pagiging honest natin ng mga Pilipino in terms of industry, manufacturing, mining, commerce, like parang sobrang daming pwedeng pangkabuhayan. Pero bakit nga ba tayo lugmok pa rin in terms of political and social conditions, kundi yung pagiging tamad ng mga Pilipino at that time? So, Zindi added, the spirit of real scholar, Rizal made a critical study of the causes why his people did not work hard during the Spanish regime. So, si Rizal, nag-conduct ng study or thesis or tinatawag natin as of now na research kung bakit nga ba daw hindi nag-work hard yung mga Pilipino at that Spanish era. Like, parang bakit tayo tamad, hindi tayo nang gumagawa ng paraan para iangat ang bansa natin. So only to find out rin na ang result ay hindi naman tayo indolent in nature. There are some reason behind it bakit tayo nagiging tamad or hindi tayo nag-work hard at that time. So yun yung social economic context in the Spanish era. So that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Josala Milimida Pulancas and I am here to discuss with you about Rizal's assertion. Let's talk about first Rizal's assertion on Filipinos being charged as indolent. According to Rizal, Filipinos were not born lazy but had a predisposition to become lazy. In fact, according to Zaid et al. 2008, Filipinos during the pre-Spanish colonization were industrious and hardworking. They were active in agriculture, industries, and commerce. Filipinos would conduct business with China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and many other countries. The reasons why Filipinos had a tendency to become indolent or lazy are as follows. First to go is a tropical climate. Hot climate is a big contribution as to why Filipinos are working less. In fact, Filipino farmers already knows that in a tropical country, soil is expected to be healthy. Thus, they have adjusted that they do not have to work hard to harvest good crops. Second is the establishment of galleon trade. According to the Life and Works of Rizal blogspot, the establishment of galleon trade have cut off all of the country's previous associations with other countries in Asia and Middle East. Because of this, the Filipinos abandoned the pre-Spanish economic industries and have worked less than their ancestors. Number 3. The Spanish implementation of forced labor. Because of the forced labor, Filipinos have lost their love of work. They are compelled in working in shipyards, roads, and public works, abandoning their economic activities. Number 4 is the crook system of education. During the pre-Spanish colonization, only repetitive prayers were taught to the Filipino students. There were no courses like agriculture and industries that would help the country to grow during those times. Number 5 is the crook system of religion. During the Spanish colonization, the friars taught Filipinos that it was easier for a poor man to enter heaven, and as the result, Filipinos did not work hard and preferred to remain poor. Lastly is the very high charge of taxes. With this very high charge of tax, the huge portion of what Filipino earned went to the government or to the friars. And once they lost their tools and object for labor, they have also lost their appetite to work. Go to Rizal's assertion on the paragon of laziness. The Spaniards were the paragon of laziness. Rizal noted that it is the Spaniards who are lazy because not only did they detest manual labor, but they live surrounded by Filipino servants that exist not only to take off their shoes, but even to fan them. That's all for my report about Rizal's assertion. Thank you for listening.
Hi and good day. This is Danica K.D. Ponce, and as a continuation, I am here to discuss the deterioration of the industry of the Filipinos, specifically the first one, those attributable to Spanish colonizers. Spaniards blamed the Filipinos' indolence during the drawback of their economy. However, Rizal, as the great defender of his country, pondered that Filipinos are not lazy, and the Spaniards are at fault. As we go through, there are 9 statements that Rizal highlighted that would justify that Filipinos are not lazy. They are just unmotivated. The first and second statement ponders how Filipino worked hard to serve the Spaniards. Sa panahon nakikiligma sila sa kanilang neighboring countries, the Filipinos are forced to join the military. Sila ang mga nagsaserve, sila ang ipinapadala para makipagdigma or makipag-away sa mga sinakop or tinuligsa ng mga Spanyol. Furthermore, Rizal punctuated that how can Filipinos work when they are forced or they are being sent to join the military or to fight for the Spaniards? Thus, Filipinos wanted to work but they cannot because they are imperative to fight and to protect the Spaniards. Third and fourth, these cases best represent galleon trade. During the rise of galleon trade, we can say that indeed is helpful and beneficial during that time. However, in the case and side of the Filipinos, there is a slight misconception about it. Because during that time, Filipinos are being forced to work on shipyards, roads, bridges, and other works, making them forget the essence of starting industry, commerce, and agriculture. We all know that Filipinos usually work or ang alam lang nilang trabaho ay pagsasaka. However, during the rise of galleon trade, Filipinos are being forced to stop that and work instead for the galleon trade. Also, small businesses owned by Filipinos are closed since they are not allowed to do so. Since they are working for the galleon trade, wala rin silang natatanggap na sweldo o kahit anong galing sa mga Espanyol. The Filipinos thought, what is the essence and significance of this one? Or what is the purpose of me working for them kapag wala naman akong natatanggap na kahit ano? Thus, they punctuated or they thought that it is better to stop or to look indolent in the eyes of the Spaniards because working would not give them anything. 5th, 6th, and 7th. These statements show how irresponsible Spaniards are. The Spaniards, being the role model, acts differently or they have no sense of time management. Sila gumigising tanghali na. Pumapasok sa trabaho kung kailan nila gusto at basta-basta na lang umuwi galing trabaho nang hindi pa natatapos ang kanilang mga gawain. Filipinos thought, what is the essence of me working and waking up early where in fact my role models or the higher ups act or do the things oppositely? Parang ganun ba? Parang ano pang sense na pagising ko ng maaga kung hindi naman ito napapansin or hindi naman ito ang nakasanayan ng mga Spanyol. Also, Spaniards always dwell and hope for luck. During feasts and celebrations, hindi nawawala ang sabong at sugalan. In the case of the Filipinos, they also adopted it. They also waste their money on gambling, they also waste their money on cockfights, and they also thought that luck would give us or would make their money grow. Lastly, the two aforementioned statements show how the educational system of the Spaniards ruined the beliefs of the Filipinos. Before, ladies are only taught how to pray. They are only taught to recite the rosary, to memorize prayers, and to stay on a place or in one place instead of working. Rizal asserted, Filipinos always wanted to work and to earn money. However, it is just that they are taught inadequately. Inimpose ng mga Espanyol na it is okay to remain poor. Parang natatak na yun sa utak ng mga Pilipino na blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Given these practices and beliefs, Rizal asserted that Filipinos are not lazy and indolent. It is just that they are unmotivated.
So, the other factor that causes deterioration are due to Filipinos' own fault. So, hi everybody, my name is Baby Anister Robita and I'm going to discuss the last part of our discussion. The first one is the feeling of inferiority. Since Spaniards colonized the Philippines, the Filipinos' views about the master-slave relationship is spread in a way that they feel inferior towards them. Well, in the first place, we are really inferior to Spaniard since they were the one that invade us. The Filipino felt the inferiority because they believe that their life to govern themselves was being stripped away from them, thus their life was repressed since the Spaniards forced them to follow Spaniards' rules. And during this era, Filipinos are being pushed around, plundered, abused, and denounced by all of these invaders. That the only thing they can think of to be able to live much longer is to follow what rules is being installed by them. Next is, we know the word bahala na, and we usually use this word to achieve something by accident. And since we are colonized by Spaniards, we lost the desire to aim higher and just place our hopes in miracles. We also have this quotation which states that nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa, which clearly states that miracle happened when people also do some work. Pero ang nangyayari kasi ay inaasa na lang sa himala ang lahat, na tamang padasal-dasal na lang at naghihintay na ang lahat ay bumalik sa dati. Pero hindi ko naman sinasabi na masama ang magdasal. What I am pointing out is dapat sinasamahan din ng gawa. Kaya siya naging kasalanan ng isang Filipino kasi nga hindi nababalanse ng tama na lumalamang na ang pag-asa na lang sa miracles. Third is the lack of spirit to pursue lofty purposes. Lofty means soaring high, and in this, Filipino lack the spirit because they are always being stowed to do manual labor, by which there is unfairness, there is this stereotyping, there have been these biases among them, na kung saan, basta Indio, hala sige, sa manual labor yan, kung saan hindi tumataas ang posisyon o ranggo. And why does this become Filipinos' own fault? Kasi, as we can recall, discussed earlier that Filipino used to believe what the Spanish said, which Spanish put our mindset that poor can lead us easily to enter heaven, na talaga namang pinaniwalaan ng mga Filipino. Kaya hindi sila gumagawa ng paraan para palaguin pa yung sarili nila kasi nga poor easily enters heaven. At hindi na talaga sila nag-isip na i-grow pa yung sarili nila or iangat pa yung pamumuhay nila. The same goes with the lack of national sentiment. Spanish made a massive influence to the modern Filipino culture at nung nagsimula na nga yung pananakop nila, nag-spread yung culture na meron sila. Resulting na mas nasusunod yung culture nila sa sapilitang pamimilit na sundin ito ng mga Filipino. At dahil dito, nawawala na yung national sentiment natin. Pero bakit kasalanan pa rin yun ng Filipino? Kasi pwede naman nilang i-neglect yung culture na ibinibigay sa kanila. Pero hindi nila magawa kasi nga takot silang mamatay. Kasi at the times of Spanish regime, once na hindi ka sumunod sa policy na binibigay nila, there is consequence, there is a punishment na mangyayari. Na kabilang na nga sa mga punishment ay yung pag-execute do sa particular na tao na hindi sumusunod sa kanila. At dahil dito, mas pinipili na lang nilang sundin kaysa mamatay. That resulting na they lack this national sentiment. Kasi mas pinapaboran na nila kung ano yung culture ng mga Spanish. At mas napapahalagahan na nila ito kaysa sa culture na meron talaga tayo. So, to wrap up our whole discussion, the indolence of the Filipino or Sobre la Indolencia de los Filipinas is the longest essay of Jose Rizal, which is a historical scholarship that is an able defense of that alleged indolence of the Filipinos, as it discusses different factors that influence the Filipino na kung saan hindi naman nga talagang indolent ang mga Filipino bago pa dumating ang mga Spaniards, kung saan ang mga Filipino ay masisipag naman talaga. Yun nga lang dahil nga naimpluwensyahan tayo na paniwala at naging alila, madaming nagbago. Kabilang na nga dito yung dating industrious Filipinos that became indolent, na malinaw din namang naipahayag ang iba't ibang rason at pangyayari kung bakit naging indolent ang mga Filipino. Kabilang na nga dito ang mga rason ng abuse, discrimination, inaction of government, rampant corruption, red tape, false beliefs, education, also the two factors of deterioration, and many more. By which, in this critical study, Rizal pointed out that Filipinos are not by nature indolent, and they are just unmotivated. And that's all for our report. I hope you gained some knowledge. Thank you and bye.